Welcome back to the Rebuilt Parish podcast. We're so grateful that you're tuning in today. In the studio today, we have brought back Church of the Nativity's Brandon Hollern and a special guest, Amy from Online Giving, to talk all about how parishes can give online and some of the incredible ways that the company Online Giving helps parishes. And spoiler alert, it's more than just giving digitally. Well, to hear more, we'll see you inside the episode. Well, Amy, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us on the Rebuilt Parish podcast today.
Definitely good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Brandon, everybody knows you if they have been following us for a while. We just had you on the podcast last month, and we've had you on many times before. But do you want to just share a 5-second intro about who you are and what you do?
Of course. My name is Brandon. I'm the Director of Finance and Technology at Church of the Nativity, and also that same position at Rebuilt Parish. And I have been on staff for going on 11 years. This August will be 11 years, and I have the privilege of working with a great team behind the scenes, primarily on helping our ministries, helping the backbone of our ministry, and all of the data and managing all of the back-end systems to help our ministry thrive.
Brandon makes sure everything runs smoothly everywhere. All right. Well, Amy, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Online Giving?
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm a Jesus nerd. I love all things operations. Worked as an operations finance director for many years in a large multi-site church, and now have the pleasure of working with parishes and churches all over the country, helping with their operational needs, primarily with their giving. But online giving is so much more than giving, and so we get to help enhance the reach of their tools to engage people within the church and in the community, and it's really wonderful. So I get to work with an amazing team and be parts of amazing teams of parishes and churches all over the country.
Well, Amy, I'm excited that everybody gets to learn about some of these different tools that Online Giving has to offer, because it is so much more than just the giving piece.
It really is. And thank you for that. We have really felt the Lord's call to enhance the things that the churches need by listening to them and responding to those needs and giving them tools that help them with ministry. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, this first question I have is for both of you, and this is big picture. So if you could share, why is online giving so essential for parishes today?
Well, for my perspective, it's online giving is available anytime. And so if you are moved and feel the Lord moving in your heart as you're praying on a Friday night, you can give. You can interact with your church. You can engage. And so having that available for parishes really takes it just beyond the Mass time, just beyond the Sunday or the Wednesday prayer or the things that they engage in. It takes it to where you can have things from your church available, which most churches do, like Nativity does, have resources available online anytime. And then if someone feels burdened to give or wants to engage or has that movement in them, they can respond right then. And so it really breaks down the barrier between people and place, just like we've seen happen throughout our culture with everything moving more digital. And so this is just another way to engage in the ministries of the church in a way that really transcends time. You're not just limited.
Amazing. Now, Brandon, I'd love for you to share your perspective on that.
Sure. I would say for our ministry, online giving has been huge. For what Amy just talked about, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I remember pre-COVID having conversations with parishes, and they're like, well, we're not too sure about online giving. And now, of course, everybody's on board now.
Right.
COVID
they should be
that.
if they're not.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't really have to sell it so much anymore. Everybody gets it. But I would say beyond that, it's been really great to have a system that's flexible enough and has enough several different ways to give, but all roads lead to one system. Our giving system was so fragmented before, and we were managing our giving in so many different ways, and it's just been really great to unify that in one system. So
I love that. Well, how have you both seen digital giving transform generosity or stewardship in parishes over the years?
I'll let you go first, Brandon.
So we've been incredibly blessed at Nativity, and in that our donors have been open to giving online early, maybe earlier than some other parishes, but it's gotten to the point where our church budget has increased consistently and substantially over time. And the backbone of that has been online giving and the ability to make gifts online and have recurring gifts. We all know that church attendance sometimes can be hit or miss with families, but online giving is 100% attendance. And so it really helps us budgeting wise. And as the finance director, I can attest wholeheartedly that if we didn't have a way to give recurring donations, we would be, it would be a much more difficult budget to plan for.
Right. Even if it's a snowstorm, you're still getting your giving. You're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. And within online giving, there's kind of a gentle persistence to remind people that recurring giving is an option. So it provides a lot of consistency, and it's simple and it's accessible. Being a finance director before I came over here, online giving was actually one of my vendors. And I had no plans, but the Lord had different plans. And so what I've seen over time, because now I've been in this space for 22 years, which is shocking to me. But what I've seen over time is the movement away from paper giving, because people just don't carry checks or cash anymore. And that's really a burden to someone to go, oh, I really wanted to give, but I don't have the ability to. And so especially, what happened in 2020 and 2021 with all the pandemic stuff, everyone started to understand how important it is to remain digitally connected. And so having someone that is looking at the best ways to keep those methods secure and to do that for your church it's incredibly vital, because without that, there's no way to maintain income. We've seen it flip, where it used to be the majority of people would give via cash or check, and now it's the opposite. The majority of people give online. And so you want to have a partner that's protecting your interests in that area, not just from a security standpoint, but from pricing and reliability. You want someone that really partners with your church.
Right. Absolutely. And Amy, I love that you shared that you're now seeing that flipped, where the bulk of people used to give via check and cash, and now the bulk of people are giving online. What a blessing, because it's never a question of what the offering is going to look like at that point. It's that consistency there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I just to speak to that just briefly, I think it was a recent weekend. It wasn't Easter, but it was a weekend around Easter where our money counter team, the head money counter, came in on Monday morning, and he gave the sheet to put into the general ledger. And he goes, well, I hope you don't have any big bills to pay this week, because it was a low collection. I'm like, oh, Jerry, that we're actually just fine. It's okay. The vast majority of people are giving online, so it's okay.
Right.
Oh, I love that. Well, Brandon, you're saying now that the vast majority is giving online, but talk to us a little bit about that journey. What was it like when you were implementing online giving or transitioning into online giving? What were some things that worked, and maybe what were some of those challenges?
Sure. So I had mentioned before that our parish was open to giving recurring gifts. The backstory to that is we were doing it in a little bit more of a primitive way. We were actually taking and putting in account and routing numbers into our bank and doing a batch on the 1st and 15th of each month. And that worked for us for a period of time, but it wasn't until we got online giving where we started migrating everybody over to online giving. So of course, all of the encryption was handled on their end. They took all of that away from us in a good way, and set those gifts up to be recurring gifts in their system. And that the timing of that couldn't have been any better, because I think I I finalized the transition in beginning of 2019. So it was about a year before COVID. And then all of those users were set up in online giving and they had a recurring gift on file, but then people were giving one-time gifts above and beyond their tithes and offerings. So, it was great to have that in place before COVID. So we had been doing recurring giving or electronic giving online for maybe 10 years before we transitioned to online giving, but it certainly, as I mentioned before, unify the experience where you can text to give, you can use the mobile app to give, you can go on the web, all roads lead to the same system, and your bank account information or your credit card or debit card information is already tokenized and in the system. So it makes it really easy for the donor.
And you don't have to deal with all of that. Like you don't have to
goodness.
handle those hard parts.
Yes, exactly. It's administratively, it could not be any better.
That is fantastic. Now, Amy, from your experience, what are some of the most common hurdles that parishes face when adopting online giving, and how do they overcome them?
That is as unique as every parish is. So at online giving, we're bizarre, right? So I'm just going to put that out there. We have this really unique take on how we partner with churches and parishes. And that is, we know some things, but we're going to need to lean on you for what you know about your parish and how your people respond and those types of things. So our experience from configuring your site to the way we train you and partner with you and train you over time as you adopt more different elements of our product to use, it is really about educating and making sure that we let you know, hey, you're headed for a brick wall. And in some cases, parishes come in and they're like, we have 9,000 accounts and we need all of those accounts to be available on our page. And we're like, you don't want to do that to your donors.
Yeah.
In the back end, there are some ways that we can help you categorize that stuff and the things that come up often or don't come up, or like your second collections or different things. And we have parishes that have had really unique takes on the way they handle second collections and the way they handle different things. And the barrier there, I think, is mostly the trust of the partnership. Is understanding that we're here to help you get your best process for not just the donor on the front end, because that is really important. You never want to confuse or mislead a donor. But we want it to work on the back end. So we don't really want you to create a form that just has a fill in the blank what you're giving to, because then that creates some administrative hurdles. And so I think the biggest hurdle for parishes is trying to trust the process, to boil it down to where it doesn't have to be everything that you've always seen in paper format. But there are ways to make things seasonally accessible and things like that you really just have to trust the process of learning this new method of doing things. Because the other thing about online giving is we're different than all the other giving providers, because we allow you to have as many pages as you need, as many funds as you need. And it really is, I joke all the time that it's like we're the Lowe's and Home Depot of giving and digital engagement. You come to us and you tell us what you're trying to build, and I'm going to tell you where the parts are and how to get to the different pieces.
Oh, I love that. It sounds so fun too. Like it sounds like you've got just some great tools and you make it fun for them.
Yeah, I do. I do have the most amazing tools and the most amazing team. And I feel so lucky because when I came, I was the first employee. It was partners and contractors, but I was the first employee because God has a great sense of humor. But since then, I've gotten to just like my nerdy little happy self has gotten to see all these other wonderful people that God has uniquely gifted to help with design and to help with thinking through flow and communications and database things. It's beautiful. So yes, it is a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Well, Brandon, I've got a question for you. How do you encourage giving as a spiritual practice, not just a financial transaction, especially when that basket isn't physically being passed around at Mass anymore?
Sure. That's a great question. Here internally on our team, when we're talking about giving, we're always trying to find ways to preach on giving as a spiritual practice. First fruits, where we talk about giving as a priority, make it a priority in your budget, plan for your giving for the year, pick a percentage of your income to give away, and then progress that giving over time. So kind of the 4 Ps of giving is how we brand it. and we speak about it. And so our message team and Father White and Tom and those who work on the message, they're really about preaching on that and preparing hearts for giving and getting that information in their head. My job really is to make it as accessible as possible. Mine's the final step in that. So like prepare their hearts, get in their head, make it accessible. I'm the third one. And that's what I'm looking to do and improve over time. We don't pass a basket at Nativity anymore. We stopped that. We do have offertory boxes in the back, but we are preaching on giving several times throughout the year, especially during our stewardship season in November, where we're asking for a financial commitment to the parish. And then a lot of our giving, honestly, a lot of it's recurring, so that you're setting that up before the year even begins. And it's been just really helpful. We do have a way to give during the Mass in the offertory segment, and we're focusing on text to give, using the text to give function in online giving. And so that's kind of replaced cash and checks for us. And it's been really helpful.
I love that, Brandon. And it's so simple. And I would love for Amy to chime in here in a second. But what I think is great, Nativity does a beautiful and seamless job of doing this, where you've got some music playing, something pops up on the screen and shows how to text to give, especially if somebody's never been there before. And then it's super easy. You just text give to, I think it's 88877. Do I have the right number, Brandon?
That's our number. You got it.
Super easy to remember. I mean, I think it was like a year ago when I did this now. And you just enter in, your information. It's so easy. I mean, it's incredible.
Well,
now, Amy,
after that, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what are some ways you've seen parishes do this?
Well, and I was going to, I'll tack on to the end of that, because after that first time, because you put in all your information that first time, that ties your phone number to your profile. So that after that, if you wanted to text whatever keyword for whatever fund you're going to give to, which each church and parish decides what that is, if you want to text that in a dollar amount, it goes right through immediately. And so you don't have to go and register again. So we see a lot of churches use text giving. We have a lot of churches that are using QR codes now too. And we also have seen and I actually spoke on this last year at a conference, the use of RFID and NFC tags for people to tap and get to give. We've written a few blogs on that if you want to go check them out on our site. It is technology that some giving companies may say it's kind of proprietary to them. It's not. It's technology that's available to all of us. And so it's all about breaking down those barriers and giving accessibility to people to give wherever they want to. And that does break, for a lot of us that are older, like me, that kind of breaks our mold of what we've always traditionally experienced giving to be. But just because something's been one way for a long time doesn't mean it always has to be that way. And so we just want to make sure that more accessibility is available. And as churches and ministry partners and parishes have ideas, they come to us and they're like, hey, what about this?
Right.
And that's what happened on the NFC tags. I was like, yeah, of course you can use those. They're like, can we really? That's not something that's part of something else. I'm like, no, anyone can use an NFC tag or an RFID tag.
Okay, wait, can you, I don't think I know. What is an NFC tag?
Okay, it's a near field communication tag. There's these little discs. You can order them on Amazon and program them with your cell phone.
Okay.
And you can program them to link to a PDF document or a website or a whatever. But the more advanced ones link to a link tree to where you can change out what it links to over time. And so we've seen and we've helped churches adopt that technology. We're actually working on a partner for printing them nice so that they can put them on the back of their seats and things in their sanctuaries. But it allows you to take your phone and just tap on it. And then it comes up for you to give. And so just another way to break down that barrier between the donor and their worshiping through giving. So it's just one more tool in the tool basket.
There are so many of these tools. That's incredible.
It's fun. It's really fun. So stay tuned for that, but go read the blogs because they're really awesome.
Yeah, that's exciting. We'll include the links to those blogs in the show notes in this episode.
Okay, awesome.
Well, Brandon, I would love if you could share any stats or stories you've got from Nativity that show how online giving has helped you sustain or grow giving, especially during key seasons like Christmas or Easter.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned before, we're using text to give, and that's our primary way of texting during the Mass. And that Christmas and Easter are no exception. Of course, we see a large uptick in giving at Christmas and Easter versus a typical weekend. And, as Amy was speaking about before, people aren't carrying cash and checks on them like they used to. I know I have $0 and 0 checks on me right now. And so we're just acknowledging that there are people like me out there that don't have, any paper to give in the offertory, whether it be cash or checks. So online giving has certainly helped us to move the needle in a positive direction at Christmas and Easter. And we do also have other tools that we're using in online giving, specifically their chatbot, and getting more people to engage using the texting system, which then we can bring them in and assimilate into our parish. And then when the time is right for those people to invite them to give, we're not, of course, asking them to give right away, but it's certainly the tools are certainly helping us to expand our reach and bring people into relationship with Christ. So.
Yes. Oh, I want to dig into this a little bit more, because before we hit record, you were sharing with us one of the ways that you used the text to give function, but to connect with new people who were visiting over Easter. Can you share a little bit about that, Brandon? Because I think this is brilliant.
Sure. So, so we're talking about the chatbot functionality that we use through online giving, and really what we're doing is we have a phone number. You can either have a 10-digit phone number. We've purchased a short code, so our phone number is a little shorter, a little easier to remember, but you don't have to do that. And then we tie it with keywords that we set up in online giving that perform a specific function. And the system integrates with our church management software, which is Ministry Platform. I know that they integrate with other software systems too, but we're a Ministry Platform church, and that's one of the reasons why we've got online giving, because they integrated so tightly with Ministry Platform. But the example that I was telling you about for Easter is it's really so silly. I can't believe that it was so successful, but we just had a Easter raffle, and our marketing team was like, we want to, during the pre-show, like the 15 minutes before Mass starts, we have a couple announcers on there where they're making announcements, and they're trying to have fun and welcome people in for Easter at Nativity. Part of that was we wanted to do a raffle, and it's just an Easter basket full of different things. And they wanted to text the word raffle to our number, which was 88877. Now, what that was doing in the background, we set up a chat bot that integrated with Ministry Platform to respond to a custom form. And then we picked randomly from the people who responded in that form based on the timestamp for each service. And, we had, I think it was 685 people respond to that, which was crazy to me. And the crazier part was over 200 of them were brand new of those people. So newcomers are texting for an Easter basket, like a raffle. We found that it's much more effective than texting welcome or, texting a connection card. They're more likely to reach out. And on the back end, we're getting first name, last name, email, and phone number. So we tie that to a contact record, or we create a new contact record. And then we have an assimilation path that we're reaching out to and greeting and welcoming newcomers. And so that's just a way for us to further our ministry.
I'm blown away by this, Brandon. Like, I think we're probably going to have to do a podcast episode just talking about this. And you and I have talked about FLEP on the podcast before, but this is just genius. I mean, I feel like so many other parishes can use this. And Amy, we were talking in the beginning too. I didn't even realize that this was a function of online giving. You do so much more than just the giving. This is incredible.
I love that was stunning to you, because our name, online giving, is so recognizable,
yes,
but it is just the tip of the iceberg. And in order to do any of our other products or things, you have to do the giving. But what Brandon shared about the basket, everyone loves prizes, right?
Yes.
Like, we all want to win something. I want to win the basket. But so that was a genius idea that they came up with. But you've got your chat bots, but you also have custom forms that can filter into a system, because on a chatbot, you're kind of limited with the attention span. Let's talk about that in our culture for a second. Like attention span is, a Facebook
Right.
short length. And so, with a chatbot, you can't ask too many questions. Like, hey, what's your first name? Great. Nice to meet you. Melissa, what's your last name? Wonderful. One more piece of information. Let's ask you for your email address. You've been entered to win. We'll be in touch. And that's a simple conversation you can use on a chatbot, but there's custom forms that you can have longer, more involved questions and filter those things into your database. And ministry platform is not the only one we integrate with. And so that's another thing that I would encourage is if you're looking for something that's deeply integrated with whatever system, just go out to onlinegiving.org and look at what we integrate with. Because if a church or ministry has come to us and they want our help, chances are we've already integrated with it, or we have an export format for it. And so those ones that have all those wonderful open endpoints like ministry platform, we can do things through custom forms, through chatbot. We even have stock giving coming out and crypto giving and mobile apps. And we do lots and lots of things. And even though cash and check is kind of something that is less and less, we have churches and parishes that need to have all those things in one system and maybe don't have a robust system like ministry platform to where they can enter the cash and checks easily. Well, they can enter it through us. Wow. And then they've got it in one place. So it really is designed to meet the needs of churches from really small to really large. It's fully scalable, and you can pick and choose the elements that you want to use within our system.
Wow, that's fantastic. And Amy, something that you said makes me excited for parishes out there, that online giving can be used for parishes that are small and then large parishes like Nativity too, and that there's something in there for everybody.
Exactly.
Well, Amy, since online giving is one of our sponsors at Rebuilt Conference, I would love for you to share why you're excited to partner with some of our parishes that are seeking renewal, and what does set you apart from the rest of those other giving platforms out there.
For us, it's all about Jesus. And if we can help you connect to people and connect them to Jesus and connect them in your local ministry, that's wonderful. We want to see heaven crowded. Every one of us on our team got plucked out of our own little happy lives where we were. I would love to tell you all that sometime. Maybe if you're ever in Dallas, I'll buy you coffee. But
sounds good.
It's so amazing to see the way that God has purposed each of our lives in a way that can continue to build up this operational infrastructure in the church, because having ways for people to connect and engage is really the most important thing. And giving is a central component. It is a spiritual discipline that is really important because it changes your heart. And once your heart is more connected to the Lord, you change the world around you more. And so I'm about to go off on a little preaching tangent here, so I'm very sorry. But all of that to say, it is really a wonderful and rewarding thing to find a church that maybe has some outdated practices or some things that they really struggle with. My favorite are the 85-year-old church ladies that are like, I don't know how to turn the computer on. How are we going to work this? And I'm like, oh, well, let me make your life easier. There's this button. And they're like, what? This is amazing. And so it's wonderfully simple for those that really want to use it and want to engage in a changing thing for their church. And it is extendable as much as they want to learn or extend it.
Wow. And I love hearing how you shared how anybody can use this, even the 85-year-old church ladies who are scared to turn on the computer.
You can ask some parishes within the same diocese, and you will find that we have several that have been extremely faithful for many, many years of their life serving their churches. And as they've served in their parish, they come upon this new digital age and they're like, oh my gosh, my hair's on fire. What are we going to do? And we're able to really get good processes in place, just where they're going, oh, this isn't that bad. I actually like this better than checks.
Right.
So yeah, it's wonderful. It's not anything to be scared of is what I'm saying.
I think that's good that online giving, the company, takes the scary out of actually giving digitally.
Yes, we try.
Well, I love that. And as we wrap it up, I'm going to ask you both if you could just pour into this question a little bit. For the pastors and parish leaders out there who still feel hesitant about digital giving, maybe they haven't bought into it yet, what's one piece of advice or encouragement that you would give them today?
Brandon, why don't you go first on that one? Because I'm going to try not to overtalk.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, I mean, I think there are fewer and fewer people who would be hesitant to get into the online giving space. I feel like most pastors and church leaders understand the importance of it. I would just encourage you to take a season and try it. Try to talk about it, preach about it, put it in your announcements, put it in, we call it end notes, announcements after Mass. See how it goes. It's not as scary as some may make it out to be. And I know, as Amy was talking about, the 85-year-old that is worried or scared about doing it, there's a lot of good that can come from it. And I would just encourage I would encourage our pastors and our church leaders, and then also encourage parishioners to give it a shot. And if it's not working out, you can always go back.
That's true.
Exactly. I would tag on to that gathering information is your biggest asset. So as you seek to find truth and you gather information, it takes the fear out of things. And so I would gather information and then do what Brandon said, just try it out. I know with online giving, we have no contracts. If you decide next month that if Brandon, don't leave us, don't take this as an excuse to go. But like if Brandon and Church Nativity decided next month that they were leaving online giving, we would be okay. And we would be able to say, all right, here's what we need to do to wrap it up, but we're not going to penalize them. And so there's really not any risk in trying something that's going to connect your people to their ability to worship through giving.
That's incredible. Well, Amy, Brandon, thank you both for joining us today. And we look forward to the Rebuilt Conference, where we will have representatives from online giving there to help answer any of your questions. And make sure to check out the show notes, because we'll have some of those links that Amy was talking about. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.